I'm Maggie. Welcome to Experiments in Crafting. Sorry I've been away so long. It seems like no matter what day I put the stream on, that's the day that everything gets scheduled on. So the last several weeks have just been busyness and a combination of events and working and a whole bunch of things. So I apologize, but I fear that if I move it back to Tuesday where we used to stream, that Tuesdays will become a new bad night. So it doesn't seem to totally matter where I put the stream. It ends up that things get scheduled over it. But I'm glad to be back and I'm glad to be hanging out with you all tonight. I've got a whole bunch of yarn, so just because I haven't been streaming doesn't mean I haven't been shopping. So I think I talked about these the last time I streamed. They came in a week or so after the last stream, and a couple of them have been sitting. And then not too far, I don't know, hour and a half, something like that, somewhere out in central Illinois. There is a relatively new yarn store by a yarn dyer that has been around for a little while. Actually, the first what do I want to say, like indie dyer or fancy yarn that I ever bought was actually from this company. It's Leading Man Fiber Arts, and it's one that I've talked about in the past. One of my favorite shawls is made from yarn of theirs, and so I stopped by their store and I picked up a few things, and so I've got those to show, plus yarn from Sock Obsession Yarns, which is one that I buy from pretty regularly and share with you guys, and from Fiber Optic Yarns, which is one of my favorite yarn dyers. They make a gradient yarn, and then you can buy the ends of the yarn so like when I say the ends, I mean if you picture a gradient going from one color to another color with a bunch of transition colors in between, you can buy the either end of the gradient. So I have one that goes from gold to like a blue purple. And then I bought a second skein of just the blue purple and extended the shawl out. And it's one that I've shown a bunch of times. I don't think it's down here to show, but they have a new thing called an infinity fade. So no matter what order you put not no matter what order, you can start and stop the fade at any point, and the fade will continue end to end, which is pretty unique, and I'm pretty excited to show you guys that. So I'm going to start with the stuff from Leading Men Fiber Arts. Oh, looks like Jane's saying hello. Hello, welcome. Welcome to anybody else watching who's not commenting. If you have comments or want to chat, have questions about yarn, have questions about what I'm showing, please throw those in the comments in the live chat and we'll talk about it. So the first yarn is on my favorite base from Leading Men Fiber Arts. It's their Soliloquy base. It's 600 yards. I think it's 150 grams. So yes, 150 grams, 657 yards. And it is 100% superwash blue-faced Leicester. Which a lot of times gets abbreviated BFL. BFL is not quite as soft and squishy as something like merino, but it has just this amazing stitch definition. I've got a shawl made out of BFL. It's been blocked, I think, only once, and it still looks absolutely amazing. Every stitch looks perfect. You can see like the whole shape of the stitch. It's really, really pretty. Val's saying good evening. Good evening. Welcome. Thanks for joining us. Again, sorry I've been gone so long. So I'm glad to see everybody rejoining the chat. This color is called Heirloom. It's a really soft gray. I think there's a little bit of a green tone now that I'm looking under good lighting. But it's very, very pretty, kind of got an antique look to it, so appropriately named. But this is a fingering weight yarn. I really like that this comes in 150 grams because you can get a nice size shawl out of that. 100-gram shawls are like my favorite thing, but sometimes they're just a little bit too small. And so I really like this, like extra 50 grams is a really nice thing. 200 grams, a lot of times, I just get so bored doing the last 50 grams. And it seems to take so long to get through the second skein. But the extra 50 grams doesn't seem so bad, and it's not so bad if you only have to work off of one ball of yarn. And so, again, this is their soliloquy base. The color's heirloom, and it's 100% BFL, which is blue-faced luster, which is a little bit scratchier and a little bit, like, less fluffy than merino, but really, really nice for showing off patterns. So I'm going to slide that off to the side. The other thing that I bought was a mini skein gradient set. This is on their Showstopper gradient. It's 75% merino, 25% nylon. There's 120 grams total here. Each one is 20 grams. And if I put these in order, I think I've got that right. This is their colored Gothic Queen. And like I said, 120 grams total, 552 yards in the whole set, and they're 20 grams each, 92 yards apiece. So that's the whole set. There's 6 of them there, and again, these are from Leading Men Fiber Arts, which is a pretty local indie dyer, local to me anyway. But I see them at a lot of shows, and I really do like a lot of what they've got. So when we took a trip out to their store, I was not surprised that I really liked a lot of things. I kind of held back a little bit and just got a couple of things that I thought I would use. This dusty rose color has been sort of my thing recently. My current favorite pair of shoes is kind of a dusty rose. I've got a handful of shirts that I've bought recently, kind of all in this color family. So I don't know. That's just, I kind of go through waves of liking one color intensely and then kind of moving on. So right now, this is the color that I'm obsessed with, and I'll probably turn this into a shawl and just in time for me to like some other color. So, I'm going to keep you guys waiting on the fiber optic yarns, like infinity gradient, because it really is cool. Just in case a couple more people join, I want the most people to be able to see it. So I'm gonna move on to the the Sock Obsession yarns, and I can kind of pull those out one at a time here. So this one is called Whole Grain. It is 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. It's a 4-ply sock yarn, 100 grams, 463 yards, and it's got a bunch of like fun pops of color, but then there's kind of this like murky brown green. I thought it was just really cool looking online. Again, with the sort of rose, dusty rose kind of colors in here. The shoes that I was mentioning have kind of greens and blues and stuff in them as well. So it's crazy to buy yarns that match my shoes, but that's what I buy. So that's their whole grain color. I'm gonna set, these 3. Okay. So this one is called After Dark Mayhem. It's also the 75-25 merino nylon 4-ply sock weight yarn. Again, 100 grams, 463 yards. So same base as this one. It's got a really, really nice high twist. I like a lot of times, well, actually, no, this is not a high twist yarn. This is just a sort of a standard twist. Are any of these high twist? No, they're all kind of standard. High twist is when you can really, really see the like features of the like the twist. It's not a great description, but Madeline Tosh makes a really nice high twist. Their Tosh sock. But this is just a really nice smooth sock yarn. It looks very nice. It's going to make really pretty shawls is probably what this will end up being at some point in time. This one would just, for whatever reason, when I was ordering these, I was really drawn to like the bright pops of green. So this one's got some pops of green in here. The other ones that I've got, even this whole grain one has some kind of bright flashes of green. That's what I was in the mood for that day. And so kind of all of the ones that I picked had that. But this one's got a really cool blend of colors. There's some purple and hot pink and a little bit of sort of a bright peach. And then in this side, there's orange and yellow and green. And then sort of back to the purples and pinks on this end. So it's going to make for a really interesting color combination. I'm going to actually untwist this just to see how they're laid out. Because sometimes it's really difficult to tell. So this is going to be a sort of speckly variegated yarn. Because you can tell there's just little bits of color all the way around. And it looks like it changes pretty rapidly. So, you've got mostly gray and a little bit of purple down here, and then, sort of grays and whites, then the orange and blue and green section, purple section, blue section, white, green, purple. So it's kind of all over the place, kind of flashing back and forth. So it's going to be interesting to see how this works up. As long as those colors don't pool sort of unfavorably, it will look really cool. Let's see if I can get this to twist back into a hank that looks somewhat reasonable. Not great. I can redo it later. All right. So this is a yarn that I think I've shown before. I have this in a sock weight, and it was available in a DK weight. Sock Obsessions doesn't have a ton of other bases, so obviously with the name Sock Obsession, most of the yarns are sock yarns. There's a couple different bases, but this is one of their most popular colors, and it looks like she had a DK weight base, and so I picked a skein of this up. This is Fairy Witchcraft. It's 80% merino, 10% cashmere, 10% nylon. It's a 4-ply DK weight, 100 grams, 231 yards. And that makes it kind of a chunky DK weight. 220 I would consider worsted. So 230 is got to be getting close to worsted. But this one works up really cool. It's big chunks of purple. So you get a handful of stitches of purple and then a really quick rainbow. So this whole section works up in like 2 stitches. And so it ends up looking more like sprinkles. Because when you lump this together into a couple of stitches, the whole rainbow happens across just a little tiny piece. And then that repeats over and over again. And so you get this whole like speckled, sprinkly look. With it, at least the one that I worked up before, it ended up very uniform, sprinkly rather than like pooled weirdly. So, I occasionally like to just grab a single skein of DK weight, because I know I'll use it for like fingerless gloves. And I thought the sort of dark purple sprinkle look might be really cool on a pair of fingerless gloves. So that's what that was destined to be. And then this last set of 3. So I was looking, originally what brought me to the website was a post that had these 3 in them. And, well, it had these 3 separately, but like all, how do I want to say it? It was an album post. So each one was photographed separately. And I sent her a message and I said, what do you think about these 3 colors together? I was thinking of warping a sort of a plaid with all 3 of these, and I wanted to know if they would mesh and blend well enough together. And she was nice enough to go and photograph them all together, and I'm pretty unsure about this gray and blue one. These 2 I think really look very cool together. They all have all the same colors and sort of different ratios. This blue one, I'm not sold yet. But it might look really cool. There's a shawl that I saw in a group that I'm on. It's like a weaving group that was made of a really dark charcoal approaching black, sort of pot dyed, a white with black speckles, or sort of a, a gray, really pale gray with black speckles, and like a dark teal with black speckles, and they made a plaid out of it, and it was so pretty. And I've wanted to try something like that, and I didn't have the right combination of yarns that I was super excited to bother warping and weaving. So I'm pretty sure that I'm going to go with these two here together. So I'm going to pull this one off to the side, these two together, and you can see there's all just little hints of the colors that are in this one. So I think they'll make kind of a nice, like, variegated plaid. I might just have to pull like a solid in to go with them. Maybe a dark charcoal, maybe a really just like super deep green, something like that, but something to sort of balance this. I think there's too much blue in this one, but I'm not sure yet. So on the colors here, this pale gray one with the little hints of bright neon green and maybe navy blue and maybe a little bit of teal in there. This one's called Finished Netflix today, and it is that same 4-ply sock base that is 75/25 merino nylon, 100 grams, 463 yards. So that one's Finished Netflix today. This one is called Sweet Sweet. So SWEET SUITE. Same base. And then this one is like a dark hunter green. That same flashes of like neon green. There's a little bit of blue. Kind of a pure, brighter blue. And then this end has just a little bit of like a mauve. There's a little bit of purple tone, gray purple there. So, and you can see there's a little bit more blue packed in here, which is why I thought that one might go, but I'm not sold. This one that has the blue and gray and the bright greens is called Blarney Stone. And again, same base, 75/25 merino nylon sock base. There are other bases, but yeah, that's what I've gotten most of today. I think there's a fluffy sock and a sparkle sock. There's a couple of other options, but these are all the standard sock base. This one's got a lot more of this blue and green mixed together, and then there's a few speckles of kind of like a rust color in there. And then sort of a really like steely blue gray is the rest of the yarn. So very, very pretty. I'm just not totally sure if they all go together. Val does think that they go together, and she really likes Fairy Witchcraft. I don't know. I'm still back and forth. I think the thing that's making me the most hesitant, it is so time consuming to warp the loom, and so I want to make the right decision the first time and not have to pull it all back apart. I have something on my loom. I really, really don't like it, and I haven't brought myself to cut it off. But the pattern that I chose is just too tight. By that I mean like the color changes are happening too rapidly. I was thinking of just sewing along the edge and then changing the pattern and just like weaving quickly back and forth just to get it off my loom, which is an option. So I might do that just to end it. But yeah, so these are the yarns that I got from Sock Obsession Yarns, and I'm pretty happy with everything in front of me. I think there's some options here. Like I said, I think I'm going to go with these two, and then probably a more solid. And I think that will kind of tie everything together nicely. But there are kind of a lot of options here. Like I can even make make a case for those going together. They're not great, but there's a lot of shared colors. Or these two, or these two. There's kind of a theme. I kind of bought everything. I sort of wonder if there were only a particular set of dyes that she used for that day, and they're all the same in varying amounts, because that's a little bit how it felt, and it was why I think I was drawn to everything, because they were all more or less the same, uh, with varying amounts of different colors. So, oh, I forgot to show this. This is a little curled up fox pin that I got at the Leading Men Fiber Arts store. I just thought it was cute. Um, so there's a little pin. I need to figure out what I want to do with my pins. I've got so many from fiber fairs and ordering them online and whatnot. But I don't have a good place to display them, or like a good bag to hang them on to carry with me to fiber festivals. There is actually I think there's a fiber festival either this weekend or next weekend, in person. It's outdoors, but in southwestern Indiana, if anybody's in that vicinity. I think it's called Hoosier Hills. It's one that I have not made it to in the past. I usually remember that it exists about 3 hours before it ends. I'll see a post or something from somebody who's there, and I was like, oh, I should have gone to that, and I've never made it. So, I may or may not talk myself into going. We'll see. Let's see. Stephanie also thinks that the three look good together. And Val says if I'm not happy with them, you won't have fun, but they're all great picks. That's true. The yarn that I have on the loom, it's back here, is too stretchy. So, for those of you who don't weave, the warp needs to be strong enough that it can be held under tension. And when it's too stretchy, you don't really get very good tension. And so I keep tightening it, and it just keeps like getting finer and finer and keeps stretching. And what it's doing is drawing all the yarns together, which is making it way too narrow. And it's just not working well. And if I loosen the tension, then it's really difficult to like beat the weft yarns into place. And it was just a poor choice. It's my inexperience, sort of showing through. And so I should have picked better, and I didn't. And now I'm kind of stuck between like, do I force myself to finish it, or do I just cut it off and call it garbage? And I'm leaning towards cut it off and just get rid of it. Like I said, the alternative is I just weave it quickly, kind of skip the pattern, and I'll just end up with something stripy instead of something plaid, which is what I was working on. Stephanie says she's moving this summer and she's excited to be closer to fiber festivals. That will be fun. I'm excited for fiber festivals just to start up again, especially outdoor ones where it's not so restricted, and it's just nice to be outside and wandering around shopping for yarn. I've gone to 1 or 2 outdoor fiber festivals, and they've been fun. Or I think we've been to Wisconsin Sheep and Wool is like, it's not really outdoors, but it's like in barns that are wide open. So it's covered, but that's about it. So all right, I'm gonna show the this is called Fractal, and this is the Infinity fade that I was talking about. And so I don't remember, let me see if I've got the little card that came with this. Yeah, here it is. This is Fiber Optics Infinity Fade Collection. It's 80% superwash merino, 10% cashmere, 10% nylon. There's 14 skeins that are 70 yards each. And so that gives you 9.33 ounces, is a little over half a pound. Um, I'm trying to think how many grams that is. What? Oh, yeah. Um, and then it's 980 yards total. So I think that's, I'm trying to think, 4 ounces, I think, is roughly 100 grams. I think this ends up being about 250 ish grams. Um, oh, Stephanie says she's moving to Wisconsin. Um, so yeah, the Wisconsin Sheep and Wool is a good show. I'm trying to think what else we've been to up that way, and I think that's the only one that we travel to Wisconsin for. Oh, there used to be the Wisconsin Craft Mart, but they closed, which is pretty unfortunate because it was pretty cool. Um, anyway, so yeah, this is the Infinity Fade, and so it might not be super obvious, but when I start moving them from side to side, it becomes more apparent that you can just keep. I bet I have one out of order there, but that goes like that. Yeah. And so, no matter where you start and end this, you can kind of choose your own collection here. So you can start basically on any color, um, which I thought was a really cool concept because on a traditional fade, you're pretty much stuck with, I mean, unless you want to do something really off the wall, you're stuck with the order that it fades from this color to this color. And I can't really do this unless I kind of want to disrupt the fade. So you're stuck. You can start with the dark end or you can start with the light end, but you're going in order. Um, this one you can start with whatever color you like and just keep like if I want to start with this color, I just move all these guys down here and it fades from dark blue to sort of a medium blue. Um, and I thought it was a really cool concept. I've never seen anything quite like it. I think they started with like a subset like this, and it was like this was their fractal fade. And I don't know which colors were in the original set. It was probably um red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple. So it was probably something in the order of like this set or something like that. And or like that. But I don't know. I thought it was pretty interesting to just be able to start and finish wherever you want. I have no idea what I'm gonna do with this. It's a ton of yarn. They're little, but they there's a lot here yardage wise. There's 980 yards here already. So I can just work them end to end and make a really cool faded shawl. Or I've seen several people breaking up each color with sort of a solid. So doing something like a section of this purple and then gray, and then a section of this purple and then gray. Kind of working each color in a chunk. So I've seen some of that happening. Um, if you want to get a set of this, they seem to be restocking it pretty regularly, but it sells out lightning fast. I think I had to wait 3 restocks before I could buy it. Um, and so just follow them on Facebook or something. And that's how I was basically just like, I would see it and it was like, we've restocked. And it was like 3 hours ago. And I was like, they're out. So I think they might have caught up with demand, but um, yeah, I really thought that this was a very cool set. And I just I've been enjoying going like this and just moving them down the line. Um, and just seeing how well they got it to fade from one color to the next without really disrupting too much. But I have those out of order. Yeah, that's a little bit better. But yeah, just kind of flopping them back and forth and just seeing like it's still in order. It's still in order. Like I don't know. I've been having fun. So um this is probably going to drive me crazy when I actually do try to make something because I'll have no idea where to start. Um so like which one of these is the red one if I want to go in like rainbow order. I have no idea. So that's probably as close to red to purple as I can get because this one's definitely more purple. But I could start there because this one's very deep. So anyway, if you take any of the ends off, you could make a really cool like fade from one to the end, but it's not circular. It's not until you get the edges in, and you can sort of do that at any point. Like that's a very nice fade, but if you add the others in, then you get the whole infinity loop. So anyway, I thought that was really cool. And I was excited to show you guys that. So, I really have not had almost any time to crochet. I've been working on this doll since the last time I streamed, which was I don't know how many weeks ago at this point. Um, and I think I showed you all the parts last time, but I have made pretty good progress on the head, mostly today. But over the last couple of weeks. So the general idea here is I'm still working on making like the neck portion. There's a few more rows, then it'll get sewn up and then shoved inside. And then well, hold on, let me get the jacket on. So there's a jacket on the body. The collar folds down. Collar does not want to stay. I think I'm going to have to stitch it down. All right, so body and then head on the body. And if I stitch it right, it will have a turnable head. And then arms. Just like that. So it's starting to look pretty cute, actually. I'm pretty over this doll. I want to like it, and I also have a couple of ideas of some stuff that I want to start, and I kind of just want to get it done, but I want to do it right. So, I'm sort of back and forth between like just putting this on the shelf and just like getting it done. So I'm so close. I just need to do hair really. There's also an umbrella and like a couple of little accessories, boots I think I still have to make, but it's getting pretty close and it is getting pretty cute. I used insanely giant safety eyes, which I'm pretty happy with. The bigger, lower, like wider set eyes I really enjoy. So, I think the biggest thing that annoys me about this doll is that I bothered to do all this like striping on the legs and like it has a shirt and everything and it's covered by a non-removable uh raincoat. So, it's kind of a weird thing. Val says she gets a kick out of the dolls and toys. They're perfect. I assure you they are not perfect, but they are a lot of fun. Um, and there's a lot of detail work that I enjoy doing. So, um, anyway, there's a lot of ends to sew in and a lot of detail work that needs to be done on this doll. And apparently, I need to learn how to make a French knot. I know it's not difficult, but the detailing. So there's one stripe down the center of this jacket. I don't know if this is viewable or if you guys can see this on the stream. Um, but there's a. Can we zoom in on this? Um, there's a single piece of yarn like striped down the front of the jacket, and uh, so you can see right here, and it looks kind of dumb, but it's the seam for the jacket. But what goes across here, there's supposed to be like two little French knots and like a piece of yarn to look like a closure, so that looks like the jacket is held closed. And so I need to go down the jacket and put those in before this little piece of yarn gets like snagged and ripped out or something. It wouldn't be the end of the world. I can fix it, but I got it pretty well aligned. And so I'm trying not to mess it up too badly. But anyway, that's really all I've worked on. There are a handful of projects that I need to work on or things that I want to work on. But this is the doll. So I think she's actually going to be pretty cute. So the color palette is really interesting on this doll. So I like the little. Whoop! There goes her head. I like the pale yellow, pale pink, pale orange kind of look on the leggings. But then there is um the bright yellow jacket, bright yellow boots that go to here, which cover up most of the stripe work. Um, but interestingly, her hair is supposed to be sort of like a purple magenta, which is not at all a color I would have picked. But looks pretty good. Um, so let's put her head back on. So this is the color that they've basically suggested for her hair. Um, but is an interesting color like choice with this palette of colors. It's certainly not something I would have picked. And then she gets uh like bright red detailing on the jacket and a bright red umbrella. And so I definitely would not have mixed light pink, sort of like a purpley magenta and bright red together, along with yellow and orange. It's a lot going on, but it looks very nice in the picture of the doll. And on the Instagram post, I linked to the pattern designer. It's like petite something. I can't think of it right now. But petite is spelled P apostrophe Tite. Um, and I think it's a pattern designer out of either Ukraine or Russia. I'm pretty sure I bought the pattern from Etsy, which that's generally where I have to buy those patterns. They're not usually available on Ravelry. So, anyway, I think I hope that I can have this doll done by next week. Get a little bit of time to work on it this weekend. But it's been raining here for like, I don't know, a month straight, it feels like at this point. So I probably have to go out and like get some yard work done because it's basically summer now. It was cold and miserable for like weeks and now it's 90, which is basically the Midwest. So, um, yeah, usually in the summer, crochet gets a little bit backburnered. Um, Unfortunately, so does streaming in a lot of cases. We get busy and things happen and I forget it's Thursday and all of a sudden it's, 10:30 and I've, fallen asleep on the couch or whatever. So unfortunately, things keep getting in the way, but I'm going to keep trying to stream because I really enjoy spending some time with you guys. Val suggested maybe improvising an open jacket. I thought about doing that, but the problem is that the arms are the arms are only attached on the outside of the jacket. And while I could also improvise arms and attach those and then improvise a jacket that goes over the whole thing, it felt like a lot of work. Not that I'm adverse to trying some things, but I guess in all reality, this doll was something that just caught my eye, but I don't really need for anything or like haven't been desiring to make it for a really long time. And so it was kind of something just to break a little bit of a funk. And not that that's a great reason not to put in maximum effort, but I just, I don't know. I guess that's sort of how I'm feeling about it is it's fun, but it's not I'm not driven to make this doll. So we'll see how I feel about it when it's done. I actually suspect I'm gonna like it quite a lot, but right now I'm just kind of it's a project about it. So um Val says she's too matchy for so many colors. She'd have to change it up. I tend to agree, but I really do like the way that the doll looks in the pictures. And so I'm gonna give it a try. For weird color combinations and things that are acceptable, I usually defer to my husband. Otherwise, I would match everything probably just in the same color. I obviously know some colors that match together, but I'm less comfortable with sort of complementary colors or colors that are across the color wheel from each other. Um, I have a hard time going like, oh, that orange and that blue look great together because in my head they don't. So, takes me a little bit more effort to come up with color combinations. So, I guess in some reality, this magenta and red and yellow, and then all these pastels look good together because they look good in the picture. So, I just would never have arrived at that color combination. But yeah, I guess I don't really have that much more to show. Not sure what you guys have been up to, if you're working on some projects, if things are kind of slow because it's summer, slow crochet wise, not slow um otherwise, because generally it seems that like I don't know, a lot of people have kids home in the summer, or people are taking vacations, or whatever's happening is happening in the summer. So uh tends that uh I crochet less. There's a lot less yarn sales at like the craft stores. Um like Michaels and Joanne Fabric usually have terrible yarn prices all summer. It's not till it comes back around to like October or so when they start pushing like Christmas projects that yarns go back on sale. Um so yeah, I'm looking forward to maybe trying to get to some yarn shows, and I have a lot of vacation time that I need to start using up, so hopefully I'll get to take some time off and maybe crochet some things and do some house improvement type stuff. And um, other than that, yeah, I don't know, just kind of looking forward to the summer and it being warm and sunny out. Really, it's been raining here for like, I don't know, 14 days straight. So it was really nice. The sun came out today and it was warm. So yeah. I guess if nobody has questions, oh, looks Phil sent something not crocheting much, but I'll get back to it. I have some mohair alpaca that will be good for cooler weather. Um, oh, for cooler weather. I for some reason my brain processed that it is good for warmer weather, and I was like, I don't know about that. Yes, it will be good for cooler weather. Mohair and alpaca not good for warm weather. Um, Stephanie's asking if anyone has any suggestions for moving and getting rid of yarn. I won't be able to bring anything. Um, if there's anywhere specific to donate, and a suggestion is sell it on eBay. Um, she's surely bringing some. I Yeah, I mean, you can sell it. There's D-stash like groups on Facebook. Um Sometimes like nursing homes and hospitals will take it. There are groups like charities that will make hats for preemies or at like nursing homes and things, or retirement homes. Sometimes it's just that people can't get out or don't have the means to go buy things, but are crocheters or knitters. But yeah, uh, I would look around at churches, hospitals, and nursing homes and retirement facilities. Um, in particular, it seems like some of the uh, like the potentially like housing that's targeted towards lower income individuals will take donations of supplies like that. They have sort of like some of them have like sort of a craft room or like a supply cupboard that people can draw out of. So I know there's some of that in my area. So I'm trying to think. There's usually fiber guilds that will take some things, but yeah, I would look around on Facebook for local groups, um, especially if you're getting rid of relatively recent stuff. A lot of times people are destashing stuff from like the 1970s, and not that there's anything wrong with the 1970s, but their acrylic was not good. Um, I had a friend give me some yarn that was her aunt's, and it was all rug yarn, and it was a lot of really old acrylic. Some of it was kind of cool, the labels on the packaging and whatnot, but it was not yarn that like I could really use. And unfortunately, I was gonna donate it and see if there were people who were making rugs, because that's what it was. It was rug yarn. And it got damaged. I don't know, 2, 3 years back when we had that sort of big flood in the basement, where we filmed down here. So, um, but but yeah. So especially if it's recent yarns, I'm sure people would be happy to have it. Um, yeah, well, good luck with your move, and hopefully you'll be able to watch from Wisconsin. You'll at least be on the right time zone uh, to match up with the stream. So, if I remember correctly, you're somewhere on the southern east coast, Florida, Georgia, somewhere down there. So, um, Dazzleair. I'm not familiar with that yarn. Is that a 1970s yarn? Is that a comment on my opinion of um yeah, this was, I think it was Aunt Lydia's, which is a crochet thread brand. It was brutal. Some of it had Aunt Lydia's. Some of it had Amco stamps on the back of it. Because it was like, what was it? It was olefin is what it was labeled. Basically it was plastic, but it must have been made from petroleum that Amco sold to a yarn company. But I thought it was pretty funny that it had like the logo from the gas station on it. Um, so yeah, it was labeled olefin, which is just basically means petroleum. I know there's more specific meaning for it, but relatively synonymous with it. But yeah, it was unpleasant to the touch. It did not age well, and it was already a really heavy, like rope-like yarn. And I just didn't know what I was going to do with it, and meant to donate it to like a guild or a group that could use it, and it got ruined before I could do anything with it. Um, some was rough, more like craft yarn, but there were some good ones. Yeah, I think this one was just intentionally chunky and kind of on the rough side. I think it was meant for rug weaving. So this one in particular was not pleasant. I'm sure there were perfectly fine ones, but just sort of made me laugh because it was definitely old acrylic yarn. But yeah, so I think I might wrap up for the evening then. I've shown you guys everything I wanted to show you. Hopefully you enjoyed seeing some of the new stuff that I picked up. I really can't wait to figure out what I'm gonna make with this fractal yarn. Um, and I again have no idea how I'm gonna pick where to start with the pattern. I kind of like where the thing is at right now with the blue on one end and the purple on the other. I don't know if this is where I left it. Oop, squeezed it too tight. Um, so I kind of left it in this order, and this looks kind of cool, but it's got blues on both ends, so I don't know if I like that. It's kind of hard to get away from having the same color on two ends, because it is that sort of infinity. Like, Now there's kind of oranges on both ends, and so I don't know where I'm gonna go with this. Uh, that's as that's as close to red and purple on an end there. Like they're both kind of purpley, but that's probably as close to just a single gradient as I can find in this set here. So anyway, I don't know how I'm gonna pick, and I don't know what I'm gonna do with it, but it's really really cool. So yeah. So that was the yarn that I was getting rid of. I think it was also probably for macrame. It was pretty rough stuff. So, but anyway, let's see. Val says great stuff tonight. You'll be trying to decide for hours. Yeah, that's definitely true. I probably will just have to either pick or, like I said, make my husband pick. That's the general. Uh, maybe I'll find a pattern that just calls to me to have it start on one particular color. The other thing is once I get them all balled up, I'm gonna have to figure out how to keep them in order. Like I'm gonna have to tag them because otherwise I'll have to take them out of the bag every time and line them all up and make sure I've got them in the right order. So I'm gonna have to find a way to like hang a little tag on them. So uh, because once you get them balled up, like it'll be very difficult to know which order do these three go in. Well, uh, like it starts to get a little bit confusing because they fade so well together. You're like, I could be convinced that these could go in this order or this order. Um, so anyway, it'll be an interesting challenge. But all right, well, it was great talking to you all tonight, and I think I'm going to wrap up for the evening. But if you have questions, you can find me on Instagram or on Facebook at Experiments in Crafting, or you can leave me a comment on a video. Otherwise, I will do my best to keep streaming on Thursday nights at 8 o'clock, and that's Central Time. But I'll be honest, I'm sure I'll continue to get interrupted here and there. So hopefully I will get back to a point where I'm streaming more regularly, but right now things are a little chaotic at work and things going on and all that jazz. So bear with me, but it's been great talking with you guys, and I've missed doing this. So this was fun, and hope to see you next time. Have a great rest of your week and a great weekend. Bye.